Now, before we move on to everything that is factually incorrect, and there's been some misinformation out there because some people have been rebutting facts that she never actually claimed. Fair game. We need to accept responsibility. The whole Capitol, right? People who went into the Capitol, separate from that. This is separate from AOC. We learned our lesson. Dave, you know now that the Capitol Mall is not the right place to host your Natural Born Killers quotathon. Look, we now know better.
It's a fun event, and if it wasn't for me, you would be still slanging hash in that shit house and banging your boss.
I see what he did there. The point is, I understand some of the confusion. So we will give AOC some grace.
Please come next.
Grace over.
You're all invited.
It was pretty much just me yelling.
So we covered that on Instagram, right? It was going live. She was recounting the Capitol riots, and was trending was Alexandria Ocasio-Smollett began trending #1. I think you have that overlay there, Gibbon.
Oh my God.
And so there are some initial claims. Now, here's the thing, though. It goes far deeper. Which, by the way, is very similar to Jussie Smollett. Here's what happened with Jussie Smollett, right? This is what happens with these stories. Someone comes out, makes a claim, right? The claim was white supremacists saying this is MAGA country. Jussie Smollett wrapped a noose around my neck and poured bleach on me. And then they found out it was 2 Nigerian personal trainers who had a Home Depot store credit card. They put it on the company tab. And he said, but really, this could have happened because of systemic racism. And Brian Stelter, nuisance money, still was like, we need to address the real problem in the United States. So this is what happened. AOC made claims which are verifiably false. We'll get to that. When people said, hey, those claims are verifiably false, she tried to say, this is media manipulation, defended her claims again, made new ones, and then last night or this morning sent an email out to her supporters demanding that her supporters flag and report anyone fact-checking her verifiably false claims. That is encouraging social media Gestapo-like behavior. She's not saying, hey, look, this is the truth, this is what people are saying, let me provide you some sources so you know what actually happened, let me give you some context. She is telling her supporters, if you see anyone claiming that what I said is untrue, or anyone saying anything mean to me because of my lies, report them to the authorities, who, by the way, are more powerful than the Roman Empire. Big 3 companies, really big 5. Amazon, Google, Alphabet, Google, same company, Facebook, Twitter, Apple. They're more powerful than the government.
Because they both had an intact sandwich at the end.
Right.
But look, not only that, but if you go down a little further in her letter, she basically says, if people are saying these things against me, that's what led to the violence that we experienced on the Capitol. So she's tying it back to just saying she's lying is now inciting violence.
Right.
Unbelievable. I don't know how you put something out like that, and she did it last night because she was so concerned that she was trending for the wrong reasons.
I remember a simple time when inciting violence was defined by actually inciting violence.
Well, those were the days.
Remember?
Yeah.
That was when they used to argue. Remember, they used to argue against free speech. They used to have this lazy argument saying, well, freedom of speech, but you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. They would say, but you can't, tell someone to kill somebody else. And we would go, oh, okay, well, we understand that. Yeah, of course, because that's not freedom of speech. That's a call to a violent action.
Right.
And now they've expanded it. They go, well, what if you say something that somebody else really doesn't like? And that is the equivalent to violence, because words are weapons too. This is where we are.
No.
2020.
My interpretation was violence.
That was my interpretation.
Nonsense.
You're a literalist.
Yeah, well, David Berkowitz's neighbor's dog told him to commit violence.
The dog has been arrested, though, on free speech.
That's true. They did put it down. They
Violation.
were like, the devil might be in.
Berkowitz really got the short end of the stick on the pets.com bubble.
Really did. Yeah. Went down to the wrong pound.
What do you did, pet meds?
So here, let's go first. This is we watched her entire 90-minute video on Instagram, which oh my gosh, I will say it's sad. The reason that AOC makes these things up, the reason that she's a public drama queen, I'll get to that in a little bit. I actually think it's kind of sad. I really do genuinely have empathy for her. I think there's a void that she's looking to fill, and she's been dishonest about that void.
The look in her eyes?
Yeah, the look in her eyes, the soulless stare, the devil's eyes, and they roll over her stupid. So this was her initially claiming that people, domestic terrorists, breached her office.
And then I just start to hear these yells of, where is she? Where is she?
This is Trump country.
And I just thought to myself, they got inside.
Don't believe you thought. So now you have Representative Nancy Mace. She was in the same hallway as AOC. We have this tweet. It's been confirmed there were no rioters who entered the hallway. Now, that being said, this isn't super important because this is what she did. She included this early in the 90-minute video, but used it as a bait and switch to later on try and do like a soap opera cliffhanger and say, and it turns out it was the cops. So this is not the most relevant portion of information, but it's what everybody is circulating. That being said, she did do us the favor of doubling down on that lie in another report. So it still is relevant. But here's her saying, oh, got you.
And I come out, and this man is a Capitol Police officer. But the story doesn't end.
And there was the hook on the door.
But wait. Is she going to double my order?
All right, before I move on, because I'm going to get really mad, hit the notification bell because subscriptions don't mean a whole lot on YouTube, and I don't know if this is actually going to get out.
It'll get out.
Who knows?
When you see YouTube, when you see Seth Meyers
this is
trending,
get out the same way she barely did.
Yes.
just by the skin of her, what is she?
really
Colombian?
I don't care.
I have no.
But hold on, I have a question. I'm a little lost here because she said she was in a bathroom, right? She had gone to the back of this, and she like put herself up against the wall, and she's like, "There's a door right here, and it opens, and
Like
I can
she was
see out."
Snake in Metal Gear Solid.
Where is she? Was she like hiding from Satan there? Did she not look through the crease in the door to see if it was a police officer or?
Well,
averted
again, the
her
police
eyes.
report describes her eyes as googly. I repeat, googly. So
From what I
Hard to
understand,
focus.
the call was coming from inside the house.
yes.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Again?
It's she can't see through
people's
cracks,
house.
but she can see around corners like that super
Yeah.
soaker.
Yes.
By the way,
Super
comment.
soaker.
Any 90s kids
Yes.
out there, you remember that super soaker with the handle? You remember
Do
that.
I?
Oh
Those are
my
cool.
gosh, yeah. And the first thing you're like,
Kidding?
hey, Dad, I'm aiming at this target. Oh, I got you. And then my dad would beat me.
Man.
So hold on a second.
felt it when
Let me.
we were in.
Here's the thing. Was she evacuated because people were rushing the office? Is that what you're saying, AOC? You were I think we have an overlay here. Another one.
Curious.
Yeah, overlay
Yeah.
F.
There we
Okay,
go.
let me give you a timeline here because again, there was another report after that where she did say that people rushed the office.
Right.
So in her video, she said that people rushed the office, but they found out it was the cops. But then there's another report, I think it was LA Times, that said, actually, no, she said that people did actually rush the office. So then she didn't say that it was the cops. What matters here is the inconsistency. Let me give you a timeline to show you why her new claims are physically impossible. However, that has never stopped AOC in the past. Granted, I understand why there might be a disconnect. I'm trying to bridge the divide, right? I'm trying to make sense of the timeline. She's nonsensical, and a straitjacket wouldn't be out of reason.
But she's upset. She knows she has 12 good years left.
Well, 11 now.
You're a generous man, Dave.
Yeah, it's true.
That's high praise. 1:22 p.m., the Cannon building received an evacuation notice, due to executing internal relocation due to police activity. This is a quote here. Then at 1:39 p.m., the D.C. police issued this alert. If you are in the Cannon building, take visitors, escape hoods, and go kits and report to the south tunnel connecting to the Longworth. Further information will be provided as it becomes available. At 1:44 p.m., Nancy Mace tweeted, just evacuated my office in Cannon, the Cannon building, which is where she was, which is where there were no other people.
Pretty far
They were in
away.
the Longworth. Just evacuated my office in Cannon due to a nearby threat. Now we're seeing protesters assaulting the Capitol building. So before 1:44 p.m., Nancy found time to get settled, read her Twitter feed, and find a video to retweet. At 1:47 p.m., the D.C. police announced that the evacuation was all clear. Okay? She would have been completely evacuated and underground, right? That's when she would have been underground when she's talking about this insurrection happening, where she was there hiding.
Okay.
There's no possible way. Look at the timeline.
Yeah.
Here. She was gone.
Where
She'd
she
already been
is.
evacuated at that point.
So she's still full of
Are
crap.
you guys following
I
me?
am following you, yeah.
No, I'm
surprised and shocked.
yeah, that's exactly where I'm at.
She then said when
Where
she
is
reached the
she?
Longworth building, this is a little, she could hear hinges cracking, the Trump mob yelling, trying to break in, and then when she saw Katie Porter, the Congressman Moo Moo,
Yeah.
she asked if she could shelter with her, shelter together, and that was confirmed. Again, at the timeline, here's Congress Z Porter. I think you have clip C.
It's coming.
Is it
We
coming?
can hear all of these rioters behind the glass of the
Oh, wait, no,
doors.
never mind. This is it, yeah.
And we have no specific location to go to. We're in the hallway. We're
It's
in
the lead up to it.
Right.
the Dunkin' Donuts of the basement. And so
She could
we're in
not have
just
been
an
there
open hallway,
at
and
this
we
time.
hear the yells of these
I just gave you the
people
timeline.
trying
Yeah.
to break into the building that we're in. It almost felt like a zombie movie or something. And then we hear like other Capitol Police trying to protect the building, barking back at these people. And it just feels like it's just a matter of seconds when these doors are going to break through and they're going to get it. I hear like the hinges cracking.
Okay, yeah, here's the thing. That was, again, at 1:47, she would have already been evacuated according to her own words and according to the documents that we have. She could have heard no hinges cracking. This is what I'm talking about. It's not that look, if she were to say it was really scary and we were evacuated and it was a blur, she is making up verifiable lies that could not possibly be true. And this is the problem with the media, big tech, and this administration. They feel as though no one is going to call them on it. And she feels so comfortable in just being immune that she's actually willing to go to the heads of big tech and send her mob out to flag anyone who questions her. No way she could have been there. No way she could have heard those things. She would have long since been evacuated. And it is confirmed by Congressman Mumu right here.
Well, at first she saw me, and we waved. I went into my office, and a couple seconds later, she knocked and she said, could we come in? And I said, of course.
Not by the hair of your chinny chin chin.
That looked like a before and after.
Yeah, it really did. So basically, you're telling me that yesterday when we watched this video and we talked about it, I was okay to be skeptical. It was justifiable.
It was 3 days ago, but you're drunk.
Wait a minute. Was it 3 days ago?
Yeah.
She made
It has
out.
happened.
We talked about it on Monday.
I am?
Okay. That long ago. This week has flown by.
Right. And we have a map, I think, too. This is something else that is pretty important. Oh, yeah, look at that. I'm a map.
Oh.
Shows exactly where the riots were taking place. Notice the rioters nowhere near AOC
Not even close.
reporter's location.
There's a street in between.
We even put a little, there's the mall. There's basically the equivalent to a park. And Bruce Christ is between her and
Yeah,
the rioters.
somewhere in between
if
there.
you've watched our Change My Minds.
It's like saying you were in Montana during 9/11. You're like, I almost died.
I know.
It was
It's like a
close
David
call.
Hogg situation, really.
It really is.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
like,
completely different building.
like, look,
Yeah.
I was completely safe, but I was terrified.
Right.
Wow,
Yes.
that sounds awful.
So she was in the Cannon building. It was the Longworth building where she was not. The rioters were nowhere near where she was. And by the way,
Why didn't she
even
just
what
use
she
the
is
cannons?
even what she is describing.
Wow.
Are we talking about like a canonized text? We're talking about the Catholic Church. The one, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's the
You both
theology
made
joke.
Terrible joke.
Okay, so wasn't even the right building. That being said, maybe she just, she got confused with her PTSD and was describing what other people experienced in that building. Here's the thing. We don't really have a lot of video evidence from the intense atmosphere she described in the building, but this is a video from the exact time. Shit.
Oh my gosh.
Is this
harrowing.
where-
Terrible.
Is this where Ted Cruz tries to murder her?
Yeah.
I think this is where he breaks in. Where is AOC?
He's around that corner there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the beard.
So that's about what we have, and then there is an interview at 3:23 with Jim Cooper. So while it was happening again, so this is the closest thing we have to proof of video of it happening inside. Here you go.
Congressman Jim Cooper, what's the situation in your office right now?
My staff and I are safe inside the office.
Well, son of a bitch.
Man, that is.
That doesn't make for good television.
No. Crap.
We do wish we had one more mask.
That was his equivalent to the hell. I know.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
give a shit. I don't give a shit.
Like, what,
safe.
something
I don't know,
happening?
some guy out there. We got a soda machine. You're making me do the Zoom call here. I got to put on pants. Okay, so now she pivoted. This is the thing, and this is where I interacted with her on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter. And what's your Twitter there, Dave Landau?
At Landau Day.
At Landau Dave. And you're in AOC's crosshairs now. I apologize.
I don't care.
So then she pivoted, and now she's saying that the pipe bombs. She's like, well, actually, look, this is a manipulation. Keep that up so I can read it. They're manipulating the fact that most people don't know the layout of the complex. I just showed you the layout. We are all in the Capitol complex. The attack wasn't just on the dome. I don't know what you're talking about. The bombs Trump supporters planted surrounded our offices too. Okay, here are some factual inaccuracies. They haven't found the people who planted the bombs. We don't have any evidence. What we do have is 2 bombs. They did find 2 bombs, none of which were anywhere near AOC. So even her now doubling back. Well, actually, okay, look, it was the door hinges cracking, and we had to hide in a porta potty. You were underground. It didn't happen. I could have been, though. And then I was in the other building, but then I could have been in this building, and it was pretty scary. And you're freaking. What about the pipe bombs? Well, the pipe bombs weren't anywhere near you. They could have been, though.
What if they were?
What if they were? Let me show you. I think we have another map. This is useful. 2 bombs, one outside the RNC headquarters. That's 2 minutes from AOC's office. Oh, we have an overlay. And then the other one was the DNC headquarters, 7 minutes.
By car
AOC's
or walking?
office.
That's a fast bomb.
I
not
don't
sure.
know, and it
Moves real
depends if
fast.
you use Google Maps or MapQuest or, God forbid, Apple Maps.
Don't use that.
It's almost as bad as Berkowitz with the Pets.com bust.
Yeah.
That's true.
And nothing is close together, by the way, in these buildings. In Washington, these are massive buildings, so to go from one to the other across the mall is a long walk.
Look, she wasn't close to where any violence happened
Okay.
at the time that it happened, and no pipe bombs were anywhere near her. Everything
Well.
she has said is a verifiable falsehood. I just don't know that I can say lie because she's so stupid.
Being in Washington, D.C., I'm sure she was close to violence, just not that violent.
Right, that's probably true.
I think it's fair.
Yeah, I think it's fair to
That's
say.
very fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, murder. Ted
Either
Cruz
way,
tried to
someone's
murder her.
stealing a Gran Torino.
It was Ted Cruz that was barging
Yep.
in. He was dressed as a Capitol policeman.
Right.
Just
Oh,
that
subterfuge.
end of the story, we haven't waited for.
Well,
it yet.
that was separate. He was just role-playing as a Bobby Cop.
It's a bit of fun.
He gets off on truancy.
Swinging
What's
it.
all
Billy
this
Club.
then?
You're not where you're supposed to be.
You got a permit for that?
Truancy is Ringo.
I guess.
Now, let me explain to you why this is something that no one else is really talking about, and this is conjecture. And I do feel bad for AOC. I would feel
Why?
bad if it weren't, and we're going to get to the gun bill, by the way, we're talking about inciting violence, if it didn't incite, I'm not going to say incite violence, incite stupidity, incite mental retardation.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing from AOC. It discourages critical thinking. Everything she does is, we need someone to control the voices. We need someone to control
Yeah.
what you can hear. We need someone to control your choices as a consumer. We need someone to control the fact checking. Everything has to be controlled because she doesn't believe that you should be allowed to think for yourself. You can look at proposed policy. What car to drive, what house to live in, what city to live in, what public transport, what tweets you can read.
Offices.
Anything.
To
Take
work
your
in.
pick.
Yep.
She's a child. That's the. I'm not kidding. Like
Yeah.
she is a kid, and that's the issue. Is we're being ran by a child. Right
We are
now.
being run, especially, this is the problem that's so pernicious with feminism, is the women who are the least happy have the most amount of influence over
Yeah.
policy that affects women. And I say this because, look, I think AOC, unlike Whitmer, unlike Nancy Pelosi, who are very smart, who are cunning, and I'm more afraid of them because
Yes.
they're sharp enough to use the system. AOC's
And
moron.
scissors.
Yes. And glue. But the issue here is, I don't even remember what I was about to say something.
she's-
Oh, yeah. The issue here is, sorry. Go ahead. You can.
I was going to say she hasn't proven herself to be in any way capable of doing the job that she's been assigned to, that she's
Right.
been elected to by her constituents. So we've got, 125,000, I think is how many votes that she got, or somewhere thereabouts of people that have put her there, and now she's trying to shape an entire party.
I think she's one of the people, unlike Pelosi, unlike those folks, I bet you that in 10, 15 years, she won't be conservative, but she could become more of a Tulsi Gabbard. The second she gets any responsibility, if she didn't have the buy-in now, right, where she has a lifetime career, having children, having a family, working in the private sector, just removing herself from suckling at the public dole,
Yeah.
at the public teat for
Signing
the
the
rest of her
front
life.
of a check.
She is a college student who controls our lives and wants
Yeah.
an incredible amount of control over your lives. And the reason that she's always dramatic, that she's hyperbolic, is not just because she's AOC and, like you said, she's a child, but for the same reason that she faked her photo op at the border. Remember with kids in cages?
Yes.
Remember, here it is. Look, that's what she's looking at. She's looking at an empty parking lot. She was looking at an empty parking lot.
Oh, wait a minute. Newsflash.
so sad, though.
The Biden administration, I don't know if you guys saw this, last night reopened those same detention facilities.
Yeah.
And they're basically citing,
Yep,
saying,
that's right.
because we might have amnesty, there are more people sending children with strangers to get across the border so that they could be granted amnesty under Joe Biden.
It's
So, hey,
almost-
unintended consequences.
It's almost like we're doing a repeat of the Flores consent policy, which I talked about in the Change My Minds, and why we need to build a wall.
Yeah, well, I think AOC is now on a plane down there to protest those cages being opened up again. I mean, that would be consistent at least
Well,
if
hopefully
she did that.
Well,
Two
I
like
mean,
skis.
her group built them. Would they want to use them?
Yeah, that was
exactly.
her team.
You build a shark cage, sooner or later, you're going to want to see an endangered species.
You're like, let's get a great white.
AOC. Halfway.
Go ahead.
What is she?
I don't know.
I always forget.
Questionable.
She's not honest. She has a hole in her soul. She has a void, and this is a lot of feminists do. Listen,
Yeah.
if you want to work, great. Carly Fiorina, who I'm very disappointed in now.
Very.
But she described feminism, I think, more articulately and succinctly than anyone I've ever heard before. She said, feminism is the ability to make a choice. You want to work? Go ahead and work. You want to be a stay-at-home mom? be a stay-at-home mom, and most women are happier being mothers. Most, not all, but a lot of women would like that option. And we don't have it now. We don't necessarily have it now because of sort of how fast our society is and in the dual income household, more so, not that you couldn't have it, but because people think they need things that they don't necessarily need. And that's a big underlying issue with AOC. And let me show you some inconsistency here. Again, she doesn't understand that the internet is forever, largely because I don't think she knows that she's hitting record. It's the button that says play, sweetheart, where it's always been. It was Congressman Mumu said that AOC was just saying, I just hope I get to be a mom. I don't want to die, which honestly breaks my heart. Here's her saying that.
And she said, I just hope I get to be a mom. I hope I don't die today.
Did I buy that inflatable projector screen from Sky Mall?
Oh, yeah. Did I play the wrong clip?
Or maybe it was Hamacher Schlemmer. And then AOC, but here's the thing, that's sad to me.
Yeah, it is.
But AOC has toxified many young women for years, for decades to come, by selling them the lie that it may be morally unacceptable for women to have children due to her raison d'etre. Climate change, here she is.
Basically, there's scientific consensus that the lives of children are going to be very difficult. And it does lead, I think, young people to have a legitimate question.
No, you lead them.
Is it okay to still have children? Also, just this basic moral question, what do we do? And even if you don't have kids, there are still children here in the world, and we have a moral obligation to them.
How are you fulfilling your moral obligation? Yeah. By spending my money on new infrastructure with a 5-page deal that takes over 60% of the economy? Sweetheart, honestly, what are you doing for the children?
I don't think she's doing it. And maybe she had a moment of clarity at the end. Maybe she was really afraid. I highly doubt all of this, but maybe she had a moment of clarity. I'm like, good.
No, I think she did have a moment of clarity.
Maybe I could survive today and be a mother. That's fantastic. Run with that.
Yeah.
That's life.
And make sure you tell your constituents.
Exactly. You can still have the job of being a congresswoman. Just do it better.
And you know what? You can still have your Coyote Ugly tabletop dance. No one's going to stop you from doing that as a mom.
That's yours.
It's a genre. You're about to say something there.
Oh, I was just saying that she's always asking a question, and we also have kids here, and there's children on Earth. And I don't,
is she making a sandwich as well? Like she's walking around
she's cooking.
Camera?
Like you're saying, we can't have kids. Oh, yeah, there's kids on Earth. She put this out there, like what she said made any sense. Like she saw this and was like, this is something the world should know.
Right. This is something.
It is important.
Kids.
I want to leave my stamp on this world.
I want people to know I'm an idiot.
Yes. I want people to know that I've encouraged young women to not have children because of climate. And this is the issue too, right? I hope that people are understanding now. Yeah. I was labeled for a long time a climate change denier, or global warming denier. Look, I'm not. Well, if you're going to talk about the world temperature going up 1.6 degrees, okay. My issue is not with the idea that the climate is changing. It's not even with the idea that humans may be some contributing force on some level to that temperature change. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it isn't, but I do think that's a conversation to be had. I think that it is far more reasonable for someone to maintain that position and say, if it is a catastrophic, world-ending problem, AOC hasn't got a shot in hell of fixing it for us.
Watch Good Morning Mug Club live every Monday through Thursday at 10:15 Eastern.